Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead of them and their companies. I'm your host, Olivia Salmons, and in each episode we'll uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future growth. Today I'm very excited to be joined by Klein Aleardi, marketing strategist and content growth expert, and the founder of Klein Rose Content Marketing. Klein works with creators and entrepreneurs to help them build audiences and, more importantly, turn that audience into real income through offers, positioning, and monetization strategies. Her work focuses on bridging the gap between content and business, helping people move from just creating online to actually building something profitable. Klein, welcome to Founders Future. Thank you so much for joining me here today.
Thanks for having me. I'm very excited for this conversation.
It's a pleasure to have you, and I'm very much excited to dive in and learn a little bit more about your journey. So, Klein, with all of my guests, I do actually like to start at the beginning. So if you don't mind briefly taking me back to what it was you was doing before you started up the company, and then from there, what was the motivation behind it?
Yeah, so I have a journalism background. I was working as a digital editor for a regional magazine, and then COVID happened, and we had to very quickly flip from most of our content being print or in-person events to everything being online, and then a very heavy emphasis on video. In that also led to me developing a video department at the magazine where we were doing more unscripted series that were over a long period of time, all online, all on social media. But as that was growing, I saw myself as becoming the head of this video department. And then the magazine changed course again and was moving slightly away from video. They were still doing it, but it wasn't going to be a core focus the way that it was in the beginning. And so I just realized that was, instead of forcing myself into that new position that was going to have to do more in the print side of stuff, that I would go off on my own. And I was on my own for about a year or two. I also did a quick stint in California for a year just because East Coast weather sucks. And then when I came back, I was just figuring out what I wanted to do. And about a year and a half ago, I realized I can do this on my own. I want to do this on my own. And so I started officially. I had been doing it for years technically, but I officially decided to lock in and pursue this content marketing business.
Beautiful stuff. So you're saying about a year now into your journey, having taken that beforehand, but I feel like journalism really marries well to content marketing. Obviously, a lot of that goes into the messaging you're using, the type of words and whatever else. But you guys have this creativity that you spin from nowhere, which is very unique to your industry. So it's nice that you've correlated and married that through. And then off the back of that as well, did you always have a burning ambition to be an entrepreneur and obviously set up your own kind of offer and agency? Or was that just something that I suppose sparked you when obviously the stuff was going on throughout COVID and within the newspaper?
I definitely did not have any drive to own my own thing. My mom actually is a business owner, and I always said that I could not imagine having my own business. I was like, I don't want to be in charge of this stuff. I don't want to have to hire people and lead and stuff like that. And then I think just growing up around it all, and I was actually talking recently with my mom about this, the fact that my mom is a business owner, and a lot of people in her social circle are also business owners. And so growing up, I was just surrounded by people who did that. And it just hit me the one day when I decided to like fully do this. It was like, oh, this isn't scary. This is just this. Like, it's
Yeah,
not as intimidating as it sounded in the past. And just with the way everything's changing so much, honestly, I think with the media landscape and marketing landscape of places, this is really the ideal for what I want my life to look like. So it definitely was not something I was expecting, but
yeah.
I think it was gonna happen at some point. It just,
I,
everything aligned.
I know exactly what you mean. And my parents were also business owners, and it's always that sense of because it is so normal to you, like, I don't need to handle that stuff. Like, I've been involved
Absolutely.
around it my whole life. And then for me anyway, it was like got into a working environment and I was like, Oh, like not everyone's life was like that
Yeah,
growing up, and you
yes.
end up doing twice as much work because you're
Yes,
naturally always had to do all the work. And then from
absolutely.
there, as you say, when you find your own path and you realize, oh, actually, I can carve this life out for myself,
Yeah,
that leap is not as scary for you as somebody that hasn't been brought up in that environment. So that's
right.
really cool to see. And the fact that you found your feet in something you love, of course, bend that
Hmm.
into your life and take that from
Yeah.
there. So let's dive into the obviously the marketing aspect from that so the listeners can have some context moving forward. So at this point in, Klein, who would you say is your ideal client? Who is it that you very much love to work with the most? And then from there, how is you help them? And how do you support them along their own journey?
Yeah, absolutely. So I usually gravitate more towards smaller or medium-sized businesses. It's often somewhat, so the first step is that I always prefer someone who understands marketing to an extent, or at least is up for jumping into it and investing in it. And that doesn't necessarily mean investing like a ton of money in it. I just mean investing effort, really, where even if we're starting off small, they recognize that like down the line this will grow type of a thing
Hmm.
and are open-minded to things that might sound like they're not doing anything, but in the reality they really are like the most effective strategies for that person. Definitely it's the person who gets it. And then more often than not, they end up being smaller or medium-sized business owners just because they don't have the resources to bring a full marketing team
Yeah.
on, which I've also been in that where I was at a place where they weren't fully there yet. They weren't like, yeah, this is something we should build an entire team around. So I've been that person who's had to do 8,000 things to try to get this marketing project done. And then everyone's, why didn't this work? And it's because I'm one person. So I can't work 24/7 and get this all done in the time that you gave me to do it with the resources that you gave me to do it. So I think being the add-on where we're making content and understanding your story and combining the two. That's my ideal person.
Beautiful stuff. And as you say, within that small to medium-sized businesses, they're in that point where they can scale and they need to start putting effort into the marketing. But if they're not like mentally ready to do so, it's going to be a longer process drawn out for you and them. So you are, as you say,
Absolutely.
making sure they're ready to take that step for themselves and then you can get involved. Do you more come in fractional then and like more on that partnership angle? Like how is it you work with your clients? Do you very much get in the trenches with them when you are going through everything?
Yeah, it depends on the person and goes back to that ideal person. If they are someone who says, I understand this, I want to invest in this, I'm 1,000% like trying to get every inch of their business just so that I can fully understand what their goals are and what their approach is, because I've found that always helps a lot more with presenting their messaging of who they want to be. While some people might go in with, okay, here are the four questions I'm going to ask you, and you're going to answer them. And it's going to be like, what do you hope happens in a year? Why did you start this? All that stuff. I wonder if this comes from my childhood and growing up around business people where it and combined with my journalism side, where I always say to people in interviews when they say, I'm so sorry for rambling, I always say, no, I get the best stuff when they're rambling. So I put a limit on the time just because I could talk to someone for an entire day. However, I always just, the more conversations I have with someone, the better the strategy comes out because that's when I really actually am able to understand what they're going for, why they're doing it, where the interesting pieces about their life are. And those are the things that drive the marketing and the results the best.
Yeah, I can completely understand. It's actually a lot of what I say to people on the podcast when they apologize for speaking too much. I'm like, no, that's where you get the best of from. Because as you say, it's like
Absolutely.
it's almost like they've dropped their guard, so they just
Yes.
become more open. So then you
Yeah.
can connect with them on a personal level as well as a business
Yeah.
level. And the whole point of marketing is to get obviously what that business owner needs out of them and relate that to
Yeah.
strangers. So there's no better way to do that. Like I completely
Absolutely.
agree. Just let you
Yeah.
people ramble on, and then from there we can create an amazing story because I get to know you as a person
Yeah.
and the product that you're selling. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
pretty cool setup. So very custom as well on your end. So you're very much meeting them where they're at and then taking it from there. One thing I'm very curious to find out, because it is a very busy world at the moment and marketing is having its moment. There's a lot of AI coming into play and there's so many agencies in the world. So what is working well for you in yourself in terms of marketing? Like what channels and methods are you really finding most effective in just finding those right people to work with?
Yeah, absolutely. So since I'm so early, I would definitely say word of mouth is the best for me at this moment. That being said, for the kind of next level of everything where I feel like I'm at a point where I have my like base layer of clients that I got through word of mouth and now I'm looking to grow to the next step. I the way that I was introduced to marketing was back in like 2012 and like heavily through Twitter. So what I learned was like you are using this to show your expertise in something. And then when those people understand that you're an expert, they will then want to hire you. And so
Mm.
that's always been the foundation of my marketing strategy. It has since obviously adapted as time goes on. So today it's mostly video, but that
Cool.
seed of still saying like you're entertaining people, but at the same time you are demonstrating your work and what you're able to do. Instagram's huge, mostly because that's most of what I'm doing for clients. So Instagram, LinkedIn, and then I have a blog, which is more genuinely to just what's the word supplement my LinkedIn because I just needed more content. So I was like, I'll start a blog. That's fine. So yeah, so those three are really the main points. LinkedIn is so that I can do more just takes on the industry, lessons on storytelling, stuff like that. And then Instagram is part portfolio, part entertaining while also again demonstrating that ability that I have, those skills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. And I think you actually described like the nuances between the two platforms really well because LinkedIn is definitely very much for like building connections, getting your
Yes.
business, being your specialist,
Yeah.
and then we can work on it from there. And Instagram you can have so much fun with. So as you say, it's
So
like
much.
being your authentic self while you're educating people along the way.
Yeah.
So it's even more of an in like a window into your world and what it's like to work with you. Obviously, yeah, building on word of mouth and referrals are a great way to do that at the start, and then just padding on top. I feel, and when you say like video content, I'm assuming meaning like long form, right? Because it's like very much having its moment at the time.
I know. Yeah, I know. It's actually a combination. And what I realized, honestly, even just in the past couple months, because I've been working to really nail down that whole like the elevator pitch because I do so many different things. And the best way that I found doing that is choosing my like bread and butter, what I love doing the most, which is video. But then at least putting it into words that you can't just do video. And this honestly even just goes with what I was saying earlier about talking to people because a lot of times you're too close to realize what you're not telling people about your industry. And this is the exact thing that was happening to me, which was I would say to people like, oh, I do video. And so like I do podcasts, I do a video series for that magazine that I worked for. And what I was skipping over was the fact that in doing those things, I'm also doing the support to post it on like Instagram or LinkedIn or
Yeah.
wherever they have to go and doing the kind of adjacent content for it so that people will actually go and listen or go and watch
Nice.
the not legitimate, the full series. And in my head, it was like, yeah, of course, because you can't just put something up. No one's going to go watch it. But people don't know that.
Yeah.
Or not everyone knows that, or not everyone thinks about it. And so that was new where I did explain to people that this is the main piece where I am doing longer form video, or it might just be video for Instagram since it's getting much shorter, which is a thing in itself where it's making everything more compact.
Yeah.
So, in addition to doing the long video, it's also taking that longer video and just making it the 90 seconds. And then it's everything around it. And as much of that stuff as you need is what I can do for you.
Yeah.
And
I
it
love it.
can, yeah, words, pictures, video clips, all of it. But that was too much to say. I was like,
I know
I
exactly what you
can't
mean.
list off all the things.
No, and I think it's one of the, especially a lot of the founders I speak to as well, like why a lot of them hire a marketing team is because it's so hard to get your own thoughts out on paper in a way that someone
Yes.
else understands. And it's exactly the same thing. I was actually having a conversation earlier on today, and it's just because I run a podcast every day, I think everyone else knows the ins and outs of what I'm doing. So I'm like, yeah, but of course you do that. That's a stupid question. But naturally, if you don't do that every day, for them it's, oh, okay, explain the rest of the process. And you're like, yeah,
Yeah.
but you don't need me to explain it. Like, surely you get it. So
Right.
yeah, it's that same
Absolutely.
aspects. Yeah, I
Yeah.
completely understand. And are you
Yeah.
running any form of like advertisement or anything to maybe draw traffic to the videos you are putting out and the content that you're using, or is it just very organic with what you're putting out there?
Right now it's organic. I do
Okay.
have a plan for the end of the year. I'm thinking it will depend on how things go. And I'm probably going to end up deciding between an Instagram ad that runs like all the time or Google ads. Or if LinkedIn sends me another, here's $500 in free ads, that will probably happen as well.
Yeah,
Because
because
every other
LinkedIn, if
month.
not, yeah, but LinkedIn, if not, it can be so expensive and so draining when you're running no
Yeah.
ads.
Yeah.
Definitely, like Meta is a really good place. Even for us as a company, we run a lot on YouTube. Again,
Yeah.
long content
Yeah.
having to play.
Yeah.
So it's just like utilizing those platforms and taking it from there. And I suppose
Yeah.
with that being said, obviously you have the plan to scale at the end of the year. What are your ambitions or your visions for the company moving forward? When you think of the next 6 to 12 months, what are the
Yeah.
goals or the milestones you're looking forward to achieving?
Yeah, I have two bigger main projects that I'm planning to tackle. The one is a new type of content that I want to start offering that I'm in like the very beginning of developing. So that will be an offering that I'll have towards the end of the year. And then the kind of bigger project is that I've been finding that marketing, especially for those smaller businesses or even sometimes the medium-sized businesses, there can be like a kind of barrier to entry for people, I feel, where the idea of bringing on a marketing person, it could just sound such a
Yeah.
big investment, such a big time commitment that I want to deliver some packages that are really entry level, very much. If you want to start your marketing journey, here's a downloadable step-by-step guide or just some brainstorming questions that you can use to get started on that. I came up with the idea when I was giving a talk last year, and I made these little postcards that I took people through where it was to think about your business and think about these three buckets of your personality online. Of if you own a fitness business that like targets new moms, it's like the one bucket is like a new mom, the second is empowering women to get, and the third can be like getting strong. And so these are the three things that you're going to use to navigate your marketing in every aspect, in every content piece, and everything you put in front of a person. Like you're going to hit one of those boxes. And so something along those lines of just a more affordable, more
Yeah.
easy way to get into it.
Yeah, I love that. And it's so much needed, as you say, more in that like lower scale, lower ticket kind
Yeah,
of offer where they can have a self-follow guide because with a lot of new businesses, a lot of new founders, like marketing can be a big thing to put your head around. Like
totally.
not only is it forever changing, like we're even now talking, if you go back, you said 13 was Twitter. Like so what you
Yeah,
don't even call Twitter Twitter anymore. And then
exactly.
since COVID, everything has done a 180. Like it's like changing
Yeah,
so quickly. So as you say, providing those assets they can start themselves up with, cut through all that noise, and then hopefully find a clear path for them will help set them up without that big like expenditure bill that people don't necessarily have at the moment either. So that's a really
right.
cool aspect. And where are you probably finding the biggest challenge for yourself in getting that done and up and running? Right.
Everyone's favorite thing, the fact that there's only 24 hours in the day. Yeah, that's really about it. I think that, yeah, the day that the other side of this is that I really, in the past couple months, have accepted the fact that I do need to just set some time aside. And this is what I tell every single one of my clients. So, of course, it would make sense that I'm not following it, but that, like, if you do take that time and set it aside and work on it for, even if I take a day a week, like, that will make a whole difference for the next 6 months. And I think in the next like month or two, I'm a little, there are a lot of projects going on right now, which is great and so fun and a great problem to have. But just setting aside the time to really just sit down and do it
Yeah.
is the biggest.
Yeah, and again, I feel like a lot of founders struggle the same as you said. There's only 24 hours in your day. You have to wear a million hats throughout those 24 hours. So it is just carving out a little bit extra. I think maybe thinking it more of like an investment into your future with the time. So you
Exactly.
are just like, as you say, setting out so you can spring forward. But yeah, definitely time is one we wish we could all get back. And as one final question to you. So if you could go back in time to a younger self and you could only leave yourself with one piece of advice moving forward, something you know now, but that you didn't know back then, what would you say to yourself?
I would absolutely tell myself to stop worrying and that it's gonna be okay. I'm upset it took me so long to figure that out. And I still wake up every single day and am stressed about things that I should not be stressed about. However, I can much better talk myself off the ledge
That's good to
now.
hear.
So, yeah, just chill out. You'll be okay. It's gonna be
Chill out.
fine.
It will. Chill out and take some more
Yeah.
time. I love it.
Yeah.
And Klein, thank you so much for joining me today and for sharing your incredible journey and insight with us. Where can our listeners reach out best to work with you or connect with you if they would like to do so?
LinkedIn is always a great place. You can either message me, connect with me, or you can go through the website or the business page, which is KR underscore market content marketing. And then my website is kleinaleardi.com, and link or Instagram is KRC underscore marketing.
Beautiful stuff. And thank you again, Klein. I really appreciate you
Thank
joining
you.
me today.
This was
And
fantastic. Thanks.
awesome. And to our listeners, if you enjoyed today's episode, please be sure to go and check out Klein. As you said, check out the website, kr_contentmarketing.com. Drop her a message. I'm sure she'd love to hear from everybody. And do not forget to subscribe to Founders Future via wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And if you are a business owner, specifically a coach, consultant, or agency owner, and you're really looking to scale your business and you want to enhance your sales and marketing efforts, visit closers.io to hop on a call with one of our team and discover how we went from $0 to $30 million per year in less than 3 years. But until then, keep on climbing, and we'll see you on the next one.